But let's see. All right, here we go. Okay. All right. Hello and hello, everybody. Thank you for watching this presentation. I have, again, in case anybody doesn't know me, I'm Coach Rodney. Okay, Rodney Richardson. I go by Coach Rodney. And my goal here is to stress or to reduce financial stress by literally having an understanding about money. Okay, and I have my good friend from Cleveland, Ohio, who I grew up with, Brian Stevens, and he has this awesome book. It's an easy to read book. You can literally read it in like one day. Okay, and that says a lot for me because I don't read a lot. So for those of you that don't read a lot, trust me, you will like this. It's also on an ebook. All right, so we'll go over that later on how you can attain this book. So here is Brian. He's going to basically, Brian is going to tell you a little bit about himself and how he came about the book. All right, Brian, you got it, my man. Here you go. The floor is
Thanks,
yours.
Rodney. My name is Brian Stevens. I live here in Cleveland, Ohio. I work for a public utility company and just a regular guy. 4 years in the military, so veteran. Shout out to all my veterans out there, along with Rodney. I know he did years in the Navy.
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to make money simple. So I kept reading and trying to learn about money and see why it seemed like nobody made enough money. Everybody seemed to need a little bit more. So I just kind of read a bunch of books, put my thoughts together, and this came about to be. Now, this wasn't my passion to write a book. I've been blessed to teach a financial class at my church for the past 16 years. And one of the young ladies in the class, she approached me right after class. She said, "Brother Brian, you need to write a book." I said, "No, that's not me. I'm not a writer. I just enjoy talking about money and helping people to understand it." She looked at me real plain and simple. And she said, "Let me get this straight. This is your passion. You enjoy doing it. We're getting help. Why wouldn't you want more people to know about it?" The young lady name was Sister Amani Spicer. So shout out to her.
Thank you, Amani.
Yep. Thank you for planting the seed and
Yes.
changing the direction of my life. And then it turned out to be a blessing. A lot of people bought the book, read it, and said, "Hey, yeah, I understand it. You made it plain and simple." And that's how it came to be.
And that's how I was like, hey, we got to do something about this and get the word out. So, so I'm going to go over again, as me being a health and wellness advocate. I'm a personal trainer, health coach. I think this really ties in to mental health. And so, so on that note, I'm just gonna bring up just a little bit of information on that. So it says, nearly 80% of Americans said they have debt. More than 45% of them have debt over $10,000, and 5% have more than $250,000 in debt. So, and that's from the Freedom Debt Relief. And here's just like a basic cycle of how it works. Your financial difficulty and mental health problems. Obviously, financial stress is associated with mental health challenges, which impairs you to make these financial decisions, making decisions and keeping employment. So you can see how that cycle, it gets worse, and of your financial situation can increase the stress. So now you have more stress because of not having the money. So it makes your mental health condition even worse, or it just kind of keeps going around and around. So my goal, and I was, suggested to Brian, say, hey, this would be great if people just have an understanding, then they would really feel like they have, a sense of control, and you know what you're dealing with. And it literally does lower your stress when you see yourself, when you see what you have to work with, so that's my goal here with that. So on that, we're going to get started. And here, the basis of finances with Brian Stevens. Money is simple.
Yeah, the basics of finances. Once again, I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not going real deep. It's just to help people get the basic understanding of what they're trying to accomplish with their money. This first slide is just talking about debt and what it is. Debt is the business dictionary definition for it: a duty or obligation to pay money, deliver goods, or render service. And then the legal dictionary definition is a sum of money due by a certain and expressed agreement. That could be your car note contract you sign. It could be the mortgage you sign. It could be the credit card bill you have. You have a certain obligation to pay off the debt. It's a minimum payment. It's an interest rate attached. And it's a due date. That's all that means. You're in debt to that person or that company that you've done this contract with. Go to your next slide. Credit. We know our world is based on the credit system. The basic definition of credit. Credit is the trust that allows a borrower to obtain money or resources based on the belief that the repayment will be made in the future as per the agreement. So we kind of live on a get it now, pay later type society. Yes. That's why they always chiming in on your credit score, your FICO score, and things like that. And we'll cover that a little while in a minute to show you how that works.
And that's the way I was going about it. I'm like, oh, I can buy this now. I don't have to spend my money. I'll just pay it. I'll pay it later. You know, it's like it makes it feel like I have a lot of money when you think about it, because you're not spending your money. You're spending this money they're giving you to buy stuff, so you don't have to pay for it right now. So you have this sense of fulfillment. Yeah.
Yeah, you walk in the store and you spend $300 worth of stuff and you get it on credit. And you didn't pull one dime out of your pocket that
Not
day.
One. Nope.
You know, but you got $300 worth of stuff that you wanted to have.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Feels good to get that PlayStation 5, man.
Yeah. Next slide. FICO calculations. So some people just call it a credit score. These are the different elements they use to make up your FICO calculations or your credit score. Number one, they go by your debt payment history. That counts as 35% of the pie chart. Timely payments on all your accounts will raise your credit score. But the score is lowered by the following. These are all negative things. Late payments, debt collections, charge-offs, repossessions, foreclosures, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and several delinquent accounts. So we have 9 things that could be of detriment to your credit score and lower it.
Wow.
Yep. So they track it all. They keep track of everything.
Each of those sounds like a sledgehammer. Every time you say something, go ting.
Ting. Making that credit score get lower and lower.
Oh man.
And we'll see in a minute why a low credit score really hurts you financially.
Okay.
Next slide. Number 2, they go by the debt levels. That counts as 30% of your credit score or your FICO score. The ratio of what you owe to the amount of the available credit. In this example, they gave us a credit card limit with a $5,000 limit. The outstanding balance was $1,500. So that means you've used 30% of the $5,000 that was available to you. And they would call that good, you're in control, and that would raise your credit score. But in the same example, if you had the $5,000 credit card and you had used up $2,500 of the $5,000, now you're at 50% debt levels. Now they're saying you're kind of on shaky ground because they think you're getting to be out of control.
Yeah, I know how that is.
Yep. And that would lower your credit score.
So the higher the number, the higher your ratio, the debt level is, like you were saying, that the credit ratio, the lower your credit. Yeah,
it kind of dings your credit score a few points.
Wow.
And then it would really ding it if your balance was, if your limit was $5,000 and you spent $4,900. You know, then that would kind of ding the credit score again. Because they would say, yeah, he's kind of out of control. We can't trust him long term. Let's lower his credit score.
Wow.
Because he's a risk.
Okay.
A negative risk. All right, next slide. The length of debt, 15%. Generally, the older your length of credit history is better known for your FICO score. Basically, what that means is if you have a credit card that you've had, let's say, for 20 years, and you're current on it and always make the payments on time, and you know, and got credit increases along the way, all those reasons will help raise your credit score or your FICO score.
Okay, so you've been in the credit game a while, and then just kind of you got these cards open. That kind of helps you out.
It helps you out if it's long term.
Okay.
And the card is within good standings. And it could also be a house mortgage. You sign a 30-year mortgage.
Okay.
And let's say 18 years into it, you've never missed a payment. You've never been late.
Mm-hmm.
then that raises your credit score. Because they say, hey, you're trustworthy. It's been 18 years, and you never caused a problem.
Okay, I know I got this one card I done probably had about 18, 20 years. That's what's holding my credit up, man. I'm telling you, if I lose that, I'm done.
See, that's the
I'm
foundation, huh?
done. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, man. All right.
Number 4, new debt counts for 10% of your credit score, your FICO score. Accounts you've opened recently or inquiries from companies that you have applied for credit. They call these hard pulls.
Wow.
A hard pull is like when you go to your local dealership and you're in there trying to buy a car and you're submitting paperwork and running back and forth and they're pulling your credit report. Or you keep applying for different credit cards or different personal loans.
Hard pulls, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I go in the stores like that and they offer me the card. So they like, hey, I have all this stuff. It might be like, I don't know, 100 something, 200 something. And they'll say, hey, you know, we can give you so much percentage, 10, 20% off and give you this free boot. You know, I'm like, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, so.
Now, if you just did it one time, it really wouldn't hurt your credit score, your FICO score.
All
but
right.
if every store you went in, let's say you went shopping in 10 different stores that month, and you applied for 10 different cards, at the end of the day, that would keep dinging and knocking down your credit score.
Wow. Okay.
They would say you're applying for too much credit all at one time. What's going on? You know.
Okay. So I know I have to admit it was back in the day. So I was like, okay, Discover one day, Macy's one day, Target one day.
Yep.
But
Just whoever would give me something,
like,
I'm asking for it and taking and signing for it.
Man, it don't take like 10, 15 minutes. I'd be like, oh, that's okay. Maybe not even that long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Little did
Next
I know.
slide.
Little did
And the
I
last
know.
but not least is the type of debt. This counts for 10% of your credit score or FICO score. This includes all of your accounts. For example, credit cards, installment loans, mortgages, car notes, any other type of debt. It's the type of debt, whether it's a mortgage, car loan, all this adds up to that last small percentage, which is 10% of what makes up your FICO score.
Okay.
Low FICO score can hurt you financially. Here's a chart that is giving you an example of what I was saying. In this example, you're borrowing $150,000 to buy a house. You're going to take it out on a 30-year mortgage.
Okay.
And let's say your credit score is between 760 and 850, your FICO score.
All right.
The interest rate you would qualify for in this example is 3.1%.
Okay.
And that would make your monthly payment $643 a month.
Okay.
And then the total interest you have paid after 30 years is $81,000. So that means you've paid back the loan in full. So you've paid back the $150,000, but on top of the $150,000, you also paid $81,000 in interest.
Wow.
Kind of being expensive, but that's a good good credit score got you that. But now let's compare it to a lower credit score. Look at the last column on the chart, 620 to 639. If your credit score is between that, your FICO score, the interest rate would be 4.7% in this example. That would make your monthly payment $780.
Wow.
That would make your total interest paid $131,000 in interest.
Man, that's like $50,000 more.
Yep.
For having a low credit score.
For having the same house in the same neighborhood as maybe your neighbor. But he paid $150,000 plus $81,000 in interest, and you paid $150,000 plus another $131,000 in interest.
Wow!
So that's how important this FICO score has to be. You got to be paying attention when y'all doing business.
FICO. What the FICO is going on?
And all this is based on something called the Rule of 72.
Ah, yes.
The Rule of 72 suggests it's just a math equation. It lets you know how long it takes for your money to double. So, for example, if you had $1,000 and it was invested at 1% interest, it would take 72 years for your money to double. But if you had $1,000 invested at 10% interest, it only take 7 years, 7.2 years. That's 7 years and 2 months for your money to double.
Okay.
If you had that same $1,000, but it was growing at 20% interest, it would take 3.6 years for your money to double.
Wow.
So that means your $1,000 will now become 2,000.
Okay.
In those length of times.
Wow. So this rule of 72, is it like reading somewhere? Is it like in a book somewhere saying literally like this? This sounds like a movie, the rule of 72.
It's out there. Yeah, if they just Google the rule of 72, the definition will come up.
Man, they don't talk about this. You don't hear about this. Here on the news, rule of 72.
No, they don't teach us this. You probably wasn't taught this in junior high or high school.
Nah.
And for those who went to college, they probably never mentioned it there either. But most of your bankers or investment bankers, they know about this math calculation.
Of course.
And it's just basically how long it takes your money to double.
Okay. Wow.
So you can see it's important because it's a big difference between 72 years and 7 years.
Yes.
This next slide shows you just more percentage rates. You take 72 divided by 1, it's going to take your money 72 years to double. If you took 72 divided by 18% on this chart, that means your money would double every 4 years. So it all depends on the interest rate. That interest rate is so important.
Wow.
But a lot of times we don't pay attention to that. We just look at the dollar amount.
Yes, sir.
But the interest rate is critical to the equation also.
Big time. Yeah.
Go to your next slide. Now, these are examples of the rule of 72 working against us. Now, we first talked about the rule of 72. We talked about investment accounts, meaning you're earning money and you're earning interest. Right. And that's great. That means money is coming towards you. But the sad part about the rule of 72, when you owe money and it has an interest rate attached to you, that's money that's getting away from you.
Getting away from it.
Yeah, it's you're paying the company extra instead of you earning extra.
Yeah, you make it sound so nice, getting away from it. It sounds so worse than that. You're making it sound nice.
It's emptying out your bank account fast.
Man, I don't even think it's even touching. It's like, I don't even think you get to stay there. Yeah. Wow.
So these are some basic things that we owe on in our country. A house mortgage. A lot of us have a house mortgage.
Yes.
A lot of people have taken out a second mortgage against the home. A lot of people have a line of credit or a car loan, student loan, personal loans, furniture store loans, of course, MasterCard, Visa, Discover. So we have all these different accounts that have an interest rate attached to them.
Yes. And
whatever you charged against them or whatever you borrowed, because of the rule of 72, you're paying back more than you first borrowed. And that's how our money starts to get away from us. Because if you got 5, 6, 10 different accounts and they all charging you interest, that means you're overpaying for everything that's in your life on all these different accounts. Only way to avoid that if you're paying the bill off in full at the end of the month in a credit card situation, then that way you would avoid interest.
Okay.
All right, let's go to our next slide.
So it seems like that's what be like make you want to think, well, if I make more money, then maybe I could, make it work or something,
Yeah, we're all on that chase to earn more money. But the sad part is once we get the more money, you get the raise on your job or you get the second job or the big promotion you wanted. Then you spend more, but you spend more on the credit side of business.
Yes. And I believe you're going to show me an example of that too.
Yep. Now we're going to talk about something called net worth. The basic definition of that is the amount by which an individual's assets exceed their liabilities. So your assets are anything that's positive. What you have, the cash on hand, I'll give you some examples in a second. And then your liabilities are the things you owe, all the different debts and bills you have. Let's go try our next slide and see what that reveals to us. Here's a couple. Real people. I got this is courtesy of Black Enterprise Magazine. In this household, couple A, their household income is $150,000 a year.
It's pretty good.
Wouldn't you say that's a great income?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great income.
It sounds like Cancun trip every so often.
enjoying life, traveling, the best
Yes.
things. And nothing wrong with having the best things out of life.
That's
you
true.
work hard, you deserve the best things.
Yes.
Now, here's some of their assets. The market value of their home is $220,000. The value of their car is $35,000. They have $500 in their checking. They have $2,500 in their savings. They have $1,500 in their joint checking. They have $500 in a share builder program. They have $1,700 in a share builder money market. They have $2,500 in a stock purchase program. In his 401k, he has $20,000.
Wow.
For a grand total of $284,000 in assets.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good number.
Heck yeah.
Everything positive is $284,000.
Yeah.
Now, how to finish the equation to figure out your net worth, you have to take that number and you subtract your liabilities. So in this example, on the mortgage, they still owe $207,000 on the house.
Okay.
The student loan is $65,000. The car loans are $25,000. The credit card debt is $6,000 for a grand total of $303,000.
Oh.
And that's the liabilities. Now, do you see what the number is for their net worth?
A negative 18,800.
Yep. So they have a negative net worth of 18,800. Now, I want you to keep in mind, they have a great income.
Yeah, making it dough. Yeah.
Yep. I want you to keep in mind, they probably have an excellent credit score. Because they make good money, they're able to make all their bill payments on time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So by society standards, they're doing well and living the American dream.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep. But they're still running a little negative because as fast as they get the good money, it's going right back out the door in bills.
Yeah.
Now let's compare them to this next couple.
Okay.
This is couple B in this example. Now, if you notice, their household income is $69,200 a year.
Not as much, but
not as much. And basically, it's basically half, almost half of what the first couple made.
Yeah.
In their checking, let's add up their assets. In their checking, they have $1,700. In their savings, they have $23,500.
Wow.
Yeah, great savings account.
Heck yeah.
And the 401k is $20,000 in hers. In his 401k, he has $12,000.
Wow.
Mutual funds, they have $8,100.
Wow.
In the IRA, they have $1,004. The value of their home is $104,000.
Okay.
For a grand total assets of $170,300.
Okay.
Yep, pretty good. You know,
that's good.
And now we got to subtract their liabilities to see what their net worth is. On the mortgage in their house, they still owe $93,000.
Okay.
The credit card debt, they still owe $1,100. That's the only two bills they have.
Yeah, that's not bad.
For a grand total of $94,100.
Wow.
Look what their net worth is.
76,204. Wow. That's not bad. I know they had to be like, look, we got to go to Cancun. Can we go to Cancun?
And here's an example. This couple made half of what the first couple made, but they still have a positive net worth. So sometimes it's just about your game plan. What's the mindset that you're trying to achieve?
Cancun.
Cancun. You want to get to Cancun. And they can get there with that $23,500 in their savings.
Yep. And I'll be, my net worth probably won't be worth anything then, though.
No, there's nothing wrong with treating yourself to Cancun. We just want to get to the point we can pay cash for Cancun.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Nothing wrong with traveling.
That's true.
We just want to be paying cash, not put it on the credit card.
Okay. All right. I feel you. All right. Okay.
And those stats were courtesy of Black Enterprise Magazine.
Okay.
Okay, the next slide. Now, this one, it becomes personal. And everybody or every family have to answer it for themselves.
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish?
Well.
Do you want a higher credit score or do you want a higher net worth?
Well, I do want a higher net worth, obviously. And you know, I like to go to Cancun. I don't know.
And the net worth is where I'm striving to get to also. It doesn't mean you're there.
Right.
But you have the mindset that I'm striving to get there.
Okay. Got it.
Here's the problem in our society. We have kind of two systems dealing with money. when they talk about the rich, like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or Oprah Winfrey,
yes,
they'll say they're worth so many billions. You know, they might say Bill Gates is worth 75 billion, and Warren Buffett is worth 50 billion, and Oprah Winfrey is worth 2 billion. So every time they talk about the rich people, they talk about what they're worth, net worth.
Okay.
But every time they talk about the working middle class or the poor, they don't want you to think in terms of net worth. They want you to think in terms of what's your credit score.
Credit score. Wow.
Yep. What's your FICO score?
FICO.
So that means don't think about cash in a lump sum. You just think about, are you qualified to borrow more money and pay interest against it? So we got to change our mindset to start thinking net worth.
Think about Halle Berry's net worth. Got it. Okay.
I'm sure she has a great net
good
worth.
net worth. I'm sure she does too.
Because in the big picture, in the big scheme of things, if we all live to be 95 to 100 and we pass away,
yes.
If I just have a high credit score, I can't leave that to my kids or grandkids.
That's true. Yeah.
I can't leave my credit cards to my kids or grandkids.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't leave a leased car to my kids or grandkids.
Yeah.
But if I have a high net worth, meaning cash in the bank where the house is paid for,
okay.
now I can leave cash and stock options in a paid for house to the kids or the grandkids.
Right.
Yeah. So we got to think net worth so we start dealing with something called generational wealth. Meaning we're handing things down to our kids and grandkids after we've been here for 95 to 100 years. We should have something to leave them.
So I'm getting now say, okay, it's okay to live, get nice things and stuff and go to Cancun, but you gotta think about your net worth while you're doing this kind of stuff though. Not worried about paying later, going to Cancun now, put it on the card and I'll just figure out how to do it later. That's just
we got to break that mindset, that mentality.
Yeah, we got to think about, okay. All right, I get it. Halle Berry, hear me, holla. All right.
Next slide. Now, in this slide, it's just another question.
Okay.
How much does it really cost?
Okay.
And when we go out in society and we start doing these different business deals,
yes,
before we start signing papers, I really want people just to think it through.
Okay.
As an individual or as a family, how much does it really, keyword being really, cost? All right, let's check out our next slide.
How much is that trip to Cancun really costing me? Got it.
Here's an example of a credit card. This credit card balance in this example is $5,000. The credit card's interest rate is 18%. The minimum payment or the monthly payment you're paying them is $99.
$99, okay.
Yep, and it's going to take you 94 months to pay it off at that rate. Now, if you notice, after 94 months, the card is paid off.
Yeah.
You pay back the $5,000 in principal that you charged against it.
Yeah.
But you've also paid $4,358 in interest payments. You see that?
Yeah. I don't never really talk about that part of it.
So let's just say you bought $5,000 worth of living room furniture or dining room furniture to furnish your house. Your house is looking nice now. And you say, well, I'm just going to pay the minimum $99 a month. You know, that way I can enjoy my living room and dining room and entertain.
Yeah.
Have friends and family over. And in your mind, it's only costing you $99 a month to do that.
Okay.
Well, that's the short-term thought of it. But long-term, it really costs you $9,358 because you paid back $5,000 plus the interest rate of $4,358.
I see now. Okay.
Let's go to your next slide.
Wow.
So that furniture cost you double what it was worth. Now, this next slide has the same credit card, $5,000 balance.
Yes.
It has the same interest rate.
Yeah.
18%.
18%.
But because you're paying more, you're not paying them a minimum of the $99 a month. You're paying $249 a month. So instead of taking 94 months to pay it off, it's only taking you 24. Okay,
so I noticed that the principal bar is a lot wider. That's how we want to look. Keep that principal, knock it down the principal, and try to avoid paying the interest. Okay.
That interest. And in this example, you pay back the $5,000 after 2 years.
Yeah.
but you only
Yeah.
paid $990 in
$990.
interest,
All right.
which is not bad compared
Not
to the
bad.
4,300 from the first slide.
Ah, okay. So because that, when you think about that other, like you said in the first slide, if I go there, if I do the difference of that, that could be maybe roughly something thousand and some change in
Yeah,
net worth for me
yeah, yeah. You could have had that extra
to your net
3,500
worth.
instead of giving it to them. You could
Yeah.
have took it and saved it and invested it.
That increase my assets.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah,
that. I'm getting good at this.
yeah. You're getting good. You'll be a millionaire by next month.
Hey, I'm Holly, hear that, Holly? Next month, I'll be a millionaire.
But that's how it works. It just starts with thinking it through for $1 at a time.
Got it. Okay. Making sense.
All right, let's go to our next slide. That's credit card. Now we're talking about car loans.
Cool.
These are just basic things we do in our life. Most people have credit card debt. Most people have a car loan. In this example, you're buying a brand new car for $30,000 at your local dealership. You're taking out a 60-month loan, which is 5 years. Your interest rate is 4.7%. And it's going to make your monthly payment in this example $562.
Okay.
And now this is something called an amortization schedule. Anytime you have an installment type loan, like a car loan or a mortgage on a house, it also comes with an amortization page or amortization schedule.
Man, that just sounds kind of leery to me. Amortization.
The banks or the mortgage company all have them, but I think you have to request it if you want your copy.
Really?
I'm not sure if they just give it to you right off the top when you sign the paperwork.
All right.
But in this example, you see your first payment is due on November 16th, 2020. You sent them $562. They put $445 towards the principal of the loan. They kept $118 in interest.
Wow.
Then the balance keeps rolling down.
So right off the top, they just slicing off that money for them. That's the money just given away.
Yep. They getting theirs off the top.
Giving
Go
the
to
money.
your next slide.
Wow. So
now this is the end. So it's been 60 months, which is 5 years.
Okay.
You're making your last payment of $562. They give you credit for all $562. They didn't charge any interest out of it.
Okay. How nice.
The loan is at zero. You paid off the loan. But as you notice, the interest column, you paid a total of $3,721 in interest.
Wow.
So remember, the car was $30,000 to start the sticker price. But after the 5-year loan, you paid back $30,371.
Okay.
$21.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So they made an extra $3,721 in interest payments off of you.
Okay.
Which is not bad. I just want you to be aware of it.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I said. That's not too bad at all.
Not too
actually. But that payment, I have to admit, that 562 payment would have been hard to rock though every month though.
Oh yeah, because life happens. You know, kids need something else breaks down. You gotta be sure you can handle those payments that you're signing up for.
Yes, sir.
This next slide is student loan calculator. In this example, student loan, a lot of people have student loan. The example is $40,000. We're going to say they're going to pay it off in 20 years. So let's say you graduate from college at 22 or 24, you get your first good job. And then 20 years later, hopefully you have it paid off.
Okay.
The interest rate is 6%, and that made your monthly payment $286.57.
Cool.
But if you notice, it says total principal paid $40,000. That's what you borrowed.
Wow.
But if you notice, the total interest paid over those 20 years is $28,777.
Man.
So that means you borrowed 40, but basically you paid back $68,000 over 20 years.
Yeesh.
Now let's go to our next slide. I believe we have an amortization schedule to show you how this works.
All righty.
Yep. Here's when the loan first got started. Let's just say December 2020, which is next month. You sent in $286. They put $86 towards the principal, and they kept $200 in interest.
Oh, what?
Yep.
So they're like, okay, 86 for that, 200 for me. Wow. Holy smokes. I want a bank.
And then that brought your balance down to $39,913 because they took $200 and only gave you credit for $86.
Oh, that is kind of like robbing you, not even blind. It's like robbing you, robbing you in first sight. It's like
robbing you with an ink pen, not a gun. Just
yeah. It's like, okay. Wow.
Yep. All right, go to your next slide. We'll show you how the loan ends up.
Man.
And this is the end of the loan. So now it's been 20 years. 20? If you notice that date says November 2040.
40. Okay.
You send the last payment in of $286.57. They gave you credit for $285.15.
Wow.
They took interest, $1.43 in interest. The loan is at zero, so it's paid in full. You're out of debt. It should be celebrated.
Yes, sir.
But the interest you gave them over these 20 years came up to $28,777.
Wow.
So you basically gave them a brand new car.
Man, that could be going toward your net worth, man.
Could be going towards your net worth, and an account earning interest. Could have been going to your kids' college fund invested, or whatever else you're trying to do with your life.
About 4 or 5 Cancun trips.
Oh yeah, a lot of Cancun trips. You can go to Cancun a lot with 28,000 cash.
I bet. Man.
Yeah. Oh, so I just want to make people aware.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I mean, that gives you an understanding just by seeing it. You be like, okay, now I understand. And then that gives you a way to kind of process it without really losing your mind, you know, because sometimes you see it, you just like, oh my God, you know, you're like, what the heck? But when you see the numbers and you understand that amortization, you know, the rule of 72, it kind of like, okay, now I know what's going on here. Let me see how I can work with this and use the resources that's available to at least help me have some type of, you know, calm and lower my stress rate. Okay, yeah, I'm kind of not in a good place now, but I know I can get out from under this rock, as we call it, you know. So, okay, I see.
If you notice, all these financial calculators we just used was courtesy of bankrate.com. It's an excellent website. They have all kind of financial calculators. So you can figure out all this on your own if you just know the balance, the interest rate, and the monthly payment, and it'll show you your amortization schedules.
Okay.
Yep. I know this is not a church class or a Bible study class, but it's a lot of scriptures in the Bible that deal with money. So I want to use this. This is Luke chapter 14, verse 28, New International Version. It says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower.
Okay.
Once you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it.
Makes sense.
Or another translation of the same scripture says, but don't begin until you count the cost. For who would begin construction of a building without first calculating the cost to see if there's enough money to finish it?
So I can look at that, and I may be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking at, so how am I going to go about my life on achieving the things that I want to do, the things that I want to have without, I guess, lack of better words, without thinking about it first, you know?
Yeah, that's all it's saying. Sit down with pencil and paper first.
Okay.
And count up the costs or calculate the cost.
Okay.
Of whatever business deal you're about to do, whether it's buying that car, whether it's taking out that student loan, whether it's buying a house.
Yes.
Just sit down with pencil and paper with no pressure. I'm not talking about wait.
Yeah.
You don't wait till you get into the mortgage company's office or the car dealership's office.
Right.
I'm talking about before you go down there, have your plan planned out.
Okay.
Calculate the cost, count it up, then see if you're ready to do that business deal.
Okay.
All right, your next slide. Now, this is amortization schedule for a house. A lot of people have a mortgage, and in this example, the mortgage amount was $295,000.
Okay.
They took out the loan for 30 years. The interest rate the bank gave them was at 4%. That made their monthly payment $1,408.
Okay.
And 38 cents.
All right.
Now, if you notice, total principal paid is $295, but the total interest paid is $212,000 over the 30 years.
Wow. So I gave.
Yeah, the interest almost came up as much as the principal that you paid.
Wow. Back. So I gave someone $212,000 to buy a house.
Loaning you that $295 up front.
Wow.
Now let's see how the amortization schedule breaks down. Go to your next slide.
Okay. Mm.
Here's the amortization schedule on this 30-year mortgage.
I'm sorry. Just by now that you from showing me earlier, when I look at this now, I'm kind of aware now. So I'm kind of like, oh my gosh.
Uh-huh. Your
Mm.
payment was $14.08 a month, and you
Okay.
can afford that comfortably, or you wouldn't have signed it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Your principal they kept, or the principal that they gave you credit for against the balance,
Mm.
they put $425 towards the balance. The interest they took off the top of your first payment, they took $983 in interest
Wow.
payment.
They might as well say 1,000 for me.
1,000, yep.
Yep.
They said
Wow.
425 for you, 1,000 for
For
me.
me. Oh my goodness.
And then that brought your
Wow.
remaining balance after that first payment to $294,574. Now let's go to the end of the loan.
Okay.
End of the loan, you're making your last payment. It's been 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
You send it in the same 1408.
Mm-hmm.
They gave you credit for 1403.
Mm.
They only kept $4.68 in interest. The loan is zeroed out. See zero in the last column.
Right.
But the interest they collected over the 30 years is $212,000.
$12,000. Wow.
Yep.
Man.
Let's go to the next loan, the next slide, and we'll compare it to an interest rate just a little different on the same thing.
Okay.
Here we go. So a 4% interest rate of the loan that you paid off to $295, you really paid over $500,000 for that house.
Wow. Wow.
And
okay.
Here's where we kind of get tricked, or we're not paying attention. When you first bought the house, let's just say you was riding up this nice neighborhood and you saw the house, you went to a mortgage and applied for the loan and it got approved and blah, blah, blah. And they said, and the house was sold for $295,000. So the person that sold you the house, they said, hey, this is a great home for $295,000. You're in a beautiful neighborhood. It's a great school district for your kids. The white picket fence, the big backyard. It's the dream home, a lot of grass, whatever the case may be. Whatever you want is in this house.
Okay.
So when your friends and family come over and they say, hey, Rodney, you got a great house, man. Love this house. What'd you get it for? Oh, man, I got a great deal on it. It was $295,000. Oh, that's true. You borrowed $295,000 to get in that house. But when you factor in the interest, the rule of 72, the 30 years of payments, you didn't pay $295,000 for the house. You paid over $500,000 for the house after 30 years.
Got it.
And I want you to keep in mind, I didn't factor in property tax, homeowners insurance, or PMI insurance if you didn't have 20% down.
Okay. Wow.
So really, you probably paid $600, $650, $670 for a house that was stickered at $295,000.
Wow.
If your interest rate just would have been at 3%, you'd only pay $447,000. So just a 1% difference in the interest rate on your loan is that big of a difference.
Sure is. 60 grand. Man. Wow.
Yep. And once again, I just want people to be aware of what's going on.
Understand. Think
Because
about
you're
that
probably
long
running
game.
around saying, yeah, I bought the house for $295,000.
Yeah, but you don't think about the long game.
The long term.
What's
And
really
the banks look at the long term game.
how much you're giving the bank. Also, I'm giving the bank just about twice as much for this. That's going into my home, but this is how much I'm giving the bank.
They getting their cut.
So I don't really look at that. I look at it as, okay, I'm paying for my home. That's it. But I don't look at it as how much is this going into my, for me, into my, my house versus me just giving the money for borrowing it, basically. Wow.
And you have to, after you make your payments, you still have to have enough money left over that you have an adequate savings account.
Yes.
Because for 30 years, something's going to break in the home.
Yes.
Yeah, before 30 years expire, the hot water tank's going to go out, the roof's going to leak, the washer and dryer going to go out, the gutters might need replacing, the windows might need upgrading.
Yeah.
And you want to have the money cash to pay for those repairs to keep the value of the home up.
Makes sense.
But if you don't have the money cash, the bank who gave you the mortgage, they're going to say, well, come on down and borrow another line of credit or a second mortgage. We'll loan you the money to get the gutters fixed or the windows upgraded or the hot water tank repaired or the roof fixed.
And I know why. I see some folks, man, they house, pretty good sized house, but they're kind of letting it go down and, you just be like, what's going on,
Probably don't have the extra money to keep up with all the repairs needed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
And like I said, the bank will be happy to loan you the money because now they got you again on the rule of 72 with a different interest rate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, man. So the upkeep, that's something you got to think about, that upkeep of that property too.
Oh yeah. Upkeep of a house, upkeep of a car.
If you're
you got to
not
factor
able,
all that in.
oh,
That's part of sitting down and counting up the costs.
Costs. Okay. Wow.
Let's go to our next slide, see what that says. This is a budget sheet. Mm-hmm. I hope everybody out there is living off a budget. It's just your financial plan to say what I'm doing with my money. Mm-hmm. If you have a job, you get paid every other Friday. You should have your first pay of the month, and you know what obligation you have to meet out of that. Okay. And you get your second check of the month, and you should know what bills you're paying out of that or what you're putting in your savings account.
Yes.
But if you get paid every other Friday, it's 2 months a year where you get 3 paychecks in 1 month. You should also have a plan for that third paycheck.
Okay. See, I never really, you don't think about that. You just think about, ooh, I get three. Get 3 this month. Woo-hoo. Yep.
When you get that third check, you should be doing big things with it. Because you've been living all year off of just 2 checks a month. Now they give you a whole nother extra check.
Y'all know what I'm thinking, right? Cancun. Yeah, that's right.
So with that third check, you really want to pad your savings account, or you really want to put extra on a bill you're trying to pay off.
Put it toward my net worth.
Yep. Put it toward your net worth. You really want to invest it. Maybe you want to buy some stocks or invest in a mutual fund. You want to put it somewhere where it's doing something big for you.
Understand. The wedding ring for Halle Berry. Got it.
Okay. Yeah. That too. All right, let's go to our next slide.
Right. Okay, maybe not the wedding ring. A little too fast. Yeah.
Okay. He might call you a stalker starting off with a wedding ring. Like, just take out for lunch to start off.
What's this? Yeah.
Just take out for lunch to start off.
Man.
This is a consumer debt sheet. So when you get serious about your bills and you're tired of just being in debt to all these different companies, I would strongly suggest you write down your bills and just write down the smallest amount you owe.
Yeah.
So let's just say you owe somebody $1,000. So you write down, hey, I owe a MasterCard $1,000 is the balance. The interest rate is 10%. The due date is the 10th of each month.
Yes.
The amount I'm trying to pay them, I'm trying to pay them $110 or $100 a month.
Got it.
And then the expected payoff date. You know, if you owe them $1,000, depending on the interest rate, you can send them $100 to $110. It's going to take you about 10 months to pay that off.
Okay.
You know, maybe 11.
Yeah.
But at least you know that in 11 months, this bill, the balance is going to be 0.
Got it. Okay.
And that's a victory for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because you just unplugged the rule of 72 working against you on that one bill.
I understand. I have some foresight now. It makes me kind of feel at ease, other than going, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I'm like, okay, I can visually see it. And I'll be like, okay, you can kind of, like you said, you can kind of count the costs. You can make a plan, and then you can kind of rethink what do you want to get from this? You know? Yeah.
What do you really want out of it?
Yeah.
And then along the way, those 10 months, you might run into a little extra money. You might get a raise at your job. You might get a second job. It might be your birthday, and some of your family members give you some cards with some cash in it.
Okay.
You can throw that on the debt.
Got it. Okay. That's right. That gives you, okay.
Now you got a plan, a vision, and you're fired up and excited about it.
And you feel less stress over it too. You really do when you see all the numbers there, and you kind of have a expected payout date. And like you say, when you have a good windfall or something, hey, I know exactly where it's going to go. Instead of just wondering, or so.
Or just put it in your pocket and spending it, and then forgetting a week later, what did I spend that money on?
Yeah.
I had $200 in my pocket. I don't even know where it went.
Okay.
Let's check out our next slide. This is another scripture in the Bible dealing with money. More about just having discipline and a plan with your money. This is Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6 through 8. It says, take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bones. Learn from their ways and become wise. Though they have no prince or governor or ruler to make them work, they labor hard all summer, gathering food for the winter. in a nutshell, I live back in Cleveland, Ohio, so we get cold and snow here in the wintertime. And when it's January with 2 feet of snow and it's 10 degrees outside, you don't see any ants running around. You don't see any ants running through the snow trying to look for food.
No.
Because
they don't see me either.
They worked hard all summer, digging holes down in the ground real deep below the freezing level.
Yes.
They worked hard all summer filling those holes with food and nourishment for their families. So they can make it through that dark time of winter months here in Northeast Ohio to live and come back out in spring when it's spring again.
Got it.
Well, so it is with us as humans and individuals. We should be planning and saving our money for a rainy day.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't know when the dark time is going to hit, meaning you don't know when you're going to get laid off from your job.
Especially now with COVID.
Yeah, with COVID. This came out of nowhere.
It's a reality check here. Yeah.
It ruined a lot of businesses, you know.
Yes.
So you want to have some cash laid aside to get you through those tough times where you might, so if you got to pay rent or pay this or pay that, you had some money saved up that for a few months you can carry the load with the money you saved because you planned for it.
And I want to just comment on that too, Brian. This kind of because of the COVID, hopefully this will help people kind of reevaluate this situation too. So don't look at it as a terrible thing. Now that you kind of understand the rule of 72, the amortization, you know, maybe this can kind of help people make those necessary adjustments they need to do. If you're not making that, like you said, that 150,000, now you're making that 70,000. It's not bad. You're just making less. You can still do, because you just showed us a difference from a 6-figure income to someone that's making half that much. They can still make it. We just have to be wise and make that discipline and just look at everything, put it out on the sheet and just take it in and I'm speaking for myself, just have a little faith and just ride it out. You can make it through by using this information here to kind of give you some foresight, you know. That's the way I see it. So
just having a plan.
Yes.
And I'm not telling you what your plan exactly should be.
Right.
But I want each family member or each person, individual, just to have a plan.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want the banking industry and the credit card industry to take advantage of you on their terms.
Okay.
All right, our next slide. We talked about savings, just like the ant stores its food all summer to get them through the winter. So we should be saving in our savings account a certain amount of money to give us through tough times. Yeah. A lot of financial advisors call it a emergency fund.
Yes.
So they're all rainy day fund. When life goes against you, you got a small cushion to help carry you and the family.
Right.
So in this example, if you just saved $100 a month for 3 years and let it add up, that would turn into $3,600. And some people, your cable bill is $100 a month.
Yeah.
Or going out for pizza and at a restaurant and buying something at the mall that day, that's $100.
Yeah, because that's that new thing now. And I'm sorry to break it, to interrupt you, but that's that new thing now. They got us paying for all this stuff now every month too. You know, it's, you know, you can, literally just about everything we get now, you just pay for it every month. You know, so
it comes with a monthly bill.
Takes away a lot. So,
and then look at the $300 a month slide. If you save $300 a month for just 3 years,
wow,
that comes to $10,800 you have in your savings.
That is nice.
That's a nice piece of change.
Every 3 years, knowing you're going to have $10,800.
Yeah. And then you can't say you can't save that amount because a lot of people have a car note that's $300 a month. And they've been paying that for 5 straight years.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And plus, really, the bank is getting some of that, like you were just saying, off the interest. So the principal.
So if the bank is worthy to get your $300 every month faithfully for 5 straight years.
Yes.
Why can't you save for 3 straight years once the car is paid for?
That's true.
And you say to yourself, the same $300 I was sending the bank for that car note, I'm going to keep it in my savings account for me.
So count that cost. Just kind of have an ideal. Okay. All right.
I mean, after all, you're the one getting them going to work for the money. Shouldn't you get to keep some of it?
Some of it. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Just some of it.
And some of it. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Our next slide. This is an account showing you the same amount of money, but it's invested in a growth account. So it's invested at 12% interest. You have a lot of different things to invest in out here. In this example, remember we talked about the $300 in the last example added up to $10,000 after 3 years?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, in this example, the $300 after 5 years adds up to $24,500.
Wow.
And that's because it has interest. It's compounded interest on top of the money you put into the account.
That's great. Man.
So now, let's say you've had that car note for 5 years. Let's say in the 5th year, they came out with a new model and they readjusted the headlights and the tail lights and gave it new design lines. And now it's touchscreen on the inside. You say, man, I want the new model car.
Yeah.
You trade yours in, the one you just had for 5 years. You just got finished paying it off.
Yeah.
Now you traded in for another model, the newer model.
Yes.
And you still have the $300 a month note. And now it's been 10 years by the time that second one is paid off. So for 10 years, you've sent $300 out the window, out the door in car note payments. Now you're happy because you got the cars you want. I'm not against having a nice car.
Right.
But this same $300, if you had invested it for 10 years straight at 12% interest, you would have had $69,000 in the bank.
That's that net worth, like you're saying. You gotta think about that net worth. What do you want to do with your, with your life? What do you want to accomplish? Like you're saying, what do you want to accomplish? So, okay. Yeah.
So now you got 2 cars. Well, 1 car, you traded the first one in. So 10 years in, your second car, let's say you paid $30,000 for it. It's paid off. The cars depreciate, meaning they go down in value. So you paid $30,000 for that second car. If you look up the Blue Book value of it now, it's worth $7,000 after the 5 years.
If that.
If that. Versus the $300, if you had invested it, it's worth $69,000.
Wow. Man.
Would you rather have $69,000 cash or a used car that's probably worth $8,000 to $10,000 that you paid $30,000 for?
I'd rather have that cash, man.
Rather have the cash.
Yeah.
Because then I can take the cash and go pay cash for a car without paying interest on it.
Yep.
We just got to think it through. That's all.
That's all. I hear you. Okay.
All right, next slide. This is a sheet that helps you figure out your net worth. Remember, first we talked about the 2 couples. You start with your assets.
Yes.
You just write down everything you have. The actual dollar amount. You write it in, fill out the charts. And then you draw a line. And then you write down all the negative things you have, which were your liabilities against you. The debts, your credit card debt or your house mortgage debt or your car loan or student loan, whatever you have against you.
Yeah.
And then you subtract the 2. And that's how you know what your net worth is.
Okay.
And you can do this as a family. You can do this as a married couple, however you're doing it. It's just like running a business. You're dealing with money. It's a business type situation. Okay. You want to just kind of figure out where we're standing as a business. Are we doing well? Are we could we be doing better?
Okay. Makes sense.
All right. The next slide.
Woo-sigh. Feeling better now. Got a game plan.
Got a game plan. This is an app. I'm glad you mentioned that word game plan. I know everybody's into rap music. Years ago, I used to like the rapper Tupac. In one of his songs, he had a line that says, "You're deep in the game, but you got the rules missing."
That's deep.
Yep. So we're playing the game of life.
Yeah.
The financial game of life.
But we
got all the rules missing.
We got the rules missing. Oh, man.
And we keep wondering why we keep losing. Because the banks, they got the rules.
They got the rules, man.
Yep. And they didn't share them all with you.
And we in it deep. I know I'm in it deep.
Yeah, we're in it deep.
I'm in it deep.
We run around signing for the car and signing for the mortgage and signing for the student loan and signing for the credit card and signing for the store accounts.
And they slick too. They put those little rule books. They send it out to you in those small sheets of paper, all small print when they update it too. It'd be like about 20 pages. And you just simply okay, I'll accept it without even knowing the rules.
They already know you're not gonna read all that.
Yeah,
that's by design to make those print pages on a credit card agreement that small. All that's by design. Wow. So this is an app. My wife has this app on her phone. It's called App Store, Easy Financial Calculators. You can download it for free. It's free. And then before you make these different business decisions or when you run your budget or do a financial calculator, it's all on your smartphone.
Awesome.
Just
great.
another tool to help you think it through and count up the cost. That's
Yeah,
all.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, you gotta let that technology work for you too.
Yeah. You want to
Gotta let
always
it work
have
for you.
pencil and paper, and it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
figure out percentages with pencil and paper and off the top of your
Hmm.
head.
Plug
But
it
if you can
in.
download this app, it'll do it for you right there on your smartphone
Well,
for free.
that let you. And when you start when you walk in through that door, man, talking to those guys, they're gonna be like, oh, they're gonna step up their A game now because they see you. You ready.
Yeah.
You
Because
ready.
you're coming in
So.
with a plan. You're not gonna let them take advantage of you anymore.
And this help you kind of renegotiate too if you want to, maybe
Oh
to
yeah.
get your numbers lowered and stuff to help you have less stress. So this can kind of give you ways to I don't know, lack of better words, bargain with your creditors or whatever, work out something and say, hey, and then you can kind of count your costs. You can
Hmm.
still reevaluate your situation and have give you a little bit of, it gives you a little relief. You feel refreshed because now you're like, okay, I looked over everything and I got the calculator, the app to help me plug in the numbers and see where I'm at. Because that's the thing for me, when I'm facing where I'm at, it's hard. It's hard for
Hmm.
me because every time I get down to row number 5, I'm like, okay, I can't take this no more.
Hmm.
But you got to keep plugging at it though.
Oh yeah. It gets discouraging if you
It
don't see the
does.
victories coming your way.
It does. But
That's human nature, if anything, and that goes back
yeah.
to your mental health we was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't see some victories in your life along the
Mm-hmm.
way, you will get discouraged, and it will lead to
Yes.
anxiety and stress, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even leading to depression.
Yes.
So yeah, we want people to live joyful lives and be happy
Yes.
with the decisions they're making.
Exactly.
Hmm. All right, our
Okay.
next slide.
And Brian, that was it.
Oh, this is our
So
last slide. Okay.
this was, I'll tell you, when all this good information, it makes time goes by so much fast when you're getting enriched, when
Hmm.
you're getting fed, I again, your book is on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Are they still in business?
Yeah, they're still
I,
plugging along.
I
The
hope
pandemic
so.
hasn't shut them down.
But you can get it there, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Very inexpensive. Like I say, I think you guys, I was kind of promoting it on my social media saying he's not trying to get rich because you can see the price there. It's a very good book. Just even an ebook is like less than $3, and
Hmm.
it's a lot of good information. All these slides, those templates to fill out your information is there. This is just awesome, and you can reach him at Seven Prosperous on Twitter.
Hmm.
And you can
Yeah,
shoot him some information, contact him, and pick his brain. He's been doing this, like you said, what, like almost 16, 18 years?
16 years at my local church.
So
Yeah,
I'm like, wow. So
it's a passion. It doesn't seem like work to me.
yeah, exactly. Just like I am with health and wellness with fitness. I'm very passionate about helping people feel good, look good, and I finally, like I say, I understand how finances plays a part too, because it's part of our environment.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
our environment, is spending money is in our environment, and earning money, that's in our environment, and having to work, it's part of our environment. So then sometimes we just don't have the energy to work out because we're like so burnt out and stressed looking at numbers and stuff and
Mhm. Feeling
FICO.
defeated sometimes.
Yeah, we like, what
Mhm.
the FICO is going on with me, the rule of 72,
Yep.
so like I say, we're deep in the game,
Got the
like you
rules
said.
missing.
We got the rules missing, but now we're getting some of the understanding of how the rules go, and so that kind of helps us level the playing field, as per se, so, and to lower our stress. So that's the whole purpose of that. So Brian, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, brother, and I look
Oh, thanks for
forward
having
to
me, Rodney.
talking with you again. And I really hope everyone out there that this really works for you. Please let me know, and please shoot Brian's, let him know what you think about the information, what you think about the book. Let us know how this is helping you out. Okay. We really would love to hear how this is helping you out. And please share this information with as many people as you can, because now we're going through a situation that's very trying times, and a lot of things we don't really like to talk about finances. Nobody wants to admit they're broke and down and out and stuff, and then again, we just, mentally it affects us. So we shut out. We don't want to talk to anybody. So please even reach out to folks and let them know that it's okay, and figure out a way how to share their information with them. So let's help each other out. We're going through some really tough times now. We all need to really stick together. That's why I'm reaching out with my homeboy Brian from Cleveland. He showed me this book. Actually, it was like before COVID came out, you know, and we always keep in touch, and we just try to keep each other sharp, you know, and take care of each other. And I just figured this was a great opportunity for us to bring this, you know, out to as many people as possible. Okay. So again, Brian, thank you so much. And
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
you have a great day and enjoy the rest of your day. And again, I appreciate it. So thank you, everyone. You all have an eventful life. Hang in there. Keep your chin up. Stay positive. And again, embrace your precious existence, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.